Olá, pessoal, sejam todos bem-vindos a mais um episódio do meu podcast. E hoje as coisas estão um pouquinho diferentes, tá? Hoje é o primeiro episódio onde estou fazendo em vídeo. Eu convidei hoje a arquiteta Clara Cabot. Is that how I pronounce your name? I always forget. It's Clara Cabot, right?
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
So, a arquiteta Clara Cabot. E a gente vai falar um pouquinho sobre Dynamo, sobre arquitetura, sobre a faculdade de arquitetura. Ela também está fazendo um master's degree. It's a mestrado. Mestrado, do you understand the word mestrado?
Yes, yes.
Ok. So, ela está fazendo mestrado em Open Beam. A gente vai falar um pouquinho sobre isso. E, gente, você que está escutando, esse episódio ele vai ser em inglês, tá? Eu vou me comunicar com a Clara em inglês. Então, se você está escutando no Spotify e você não tem facilidade com o inglês, corre para o YouTube, porque lá eu vou colocar legendas, tá? Eu vou colocar legendas para que você possa acompanhar esse podcast. E eu estou muito feliz de Clara ter aceitado esse convite. Por quê? Porque a gente agora vai estar conversando com uma pessoa que está lá na Espanha e ela vai falar de uma perspectiva que é bem que é diferente, é outro contexto, outra cultura. Então isso é muito interessante estar entrando em contato com isso, certo? Então vamos lá. Estou muito animado para isso e vamos embora. Clara, como eu falei para vocês, Clara Cabot, ela é arquiteta, ela está fazendo um mestrado em Open Beam, Open Beam in Development and Project Management, que seria Open Beam no gerenciamento de projeto, desenvolvimento de projeto, né? Numa tradução ao pé da letra aí. E aí, Clara, ela fala umas 10 línguas. You speak like 10 languages, right? So, Spanish, espanhol, português, catalão e, let me see, English. Because nós vamos usar o inglês hoje para nos comunicar, certo? Então, gente, a partir de agora, inglês, então aproveitem muito o podcast. Clara, how are you? Now it's all English, so how are you doing today?
Great, I'm fine. And you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here talking with you. So thank you so much for accepting my invitation. You are the first international guest here.
Wow.
So yeah, I've interviewed Luisa Cipriano. She's an architect and she lives now in Italy. So, but she's Brazilian. So she's like international, but she's Brazilian. So you're the first non-Brazilian person that is participating on the podcast. So thank you so much for that. Okay.
My pleasure.
Okay. So as I told, you are an architect. You're studying your master's degree in Open Beam in development and project management. Okay, and you speak a lot of languages, as I mentioned before. So first of all, I would like to start asking about the experience in the architecture course, because here we have the architecture course in Brazil, and you know that there are a lot of differences. So I would like to ask you to start to share with us some of your experiences. And what did you learn Revit while you were in college? What softwares did you use?
Okay, so well, I finished my degree a year ago, and there in Spain there are a lot of universities and there are a lot of difference between degrees. And here, I don't know if in Brazil is the same, but here is 5 years and a half for the degree.
Well, it's 5 years here in Brazil.
Yes. Okay, similar. And well, there are a lot of difference between the degree, depends on the university, because everyone search the balance between the technical side and the artistic side.
Okay.
And it depends of the university. For example, in my case, the degree was focused more in artistics. But despite of that, I learned to open my mind because I'm a technical person a lot in my degree. And there is another side to see the opportunities.
Okay.
And in terms of the software, I learned AutoCAD, Photoshop, and Illustrator, InDesign.
Okay. So it's very artistic. It's software that yeah. So did you learn Revit or not?
No, nothing of BIM. In general, it's true that the university have external courses for that, but not in the degree. And I don't know if in Brazil is the same or not.
Okay, okay. Well, we have a lot of universities here. They don't have a Revit, so it's something new. BIM is something very new for the universities. But what they are doing is they are creating these external courses, like you said. So sometimes they invite someone who knows Revit, and they create like a free external course if it's a paid university. It's not a public university, so it's a private, that's the word, private university. So they create like free external courses to learn not Dynamo, to learn Revit, to learn BIM. So it's very interesting. So and now you're doing your master's degree, right?
Yes, here in Barcelona.
Yeah, Barcelona. So how is the experience? What are your thoughts on your master's degree?
Well, great. Despite of the coronavirus, obviously, I'm so happy about the master, about this education, because this year I have the chance to increase my knowledge and studying this master focusing on BIM. I can go deeply in the methodology because I think represents the progress in architecture, and it's my opinion. Everything that I will say is in my opinion. Because I'm so curious and a self-taught person, and I'm always trying to improve my workflows and learning in the process. So this master's is perfect for that.
Yeah, yeah. And like when we talk about open BIM, we are talking about collaboration between softwares, right? And something more we talk about a lot IFC. So it's something that really needs to improve. So yeah, so it's very important. And what are the most important things that you have been learning on your master's degree?
Well, that you say, in our world, we need to keep up about the tools that we use daily. And for that reason, I take this formation because the best part of that is offer the advantages to learn several softwares, not only Revit, like other formations, Revit, Article, Lumion, Vico. So we are focused in AFC, and the words in contact change, and it's improving exchange of information between different programs. And the best part of the master is that we don't have boundaries and than we had 10 years ago to this exchange of information. So the best part is focusing that common information put together.
That's very interesting. And what about the softwares that you use? Like, what are the main softwares that you use?
Well, Revit, ArchiCAD, Lumion, Dynamo too. another programs to control the cost of the building, and I'm following the construction in the. I think that's all since today. But well, I all plan to, and the people who study the discipline of, I don't know the name in English, obra civil.
Obra civil.
Yes, it's like more ingenious part, more technical part, studied to all plan and civil 3D too.
Oh, civil 3D. I know civil 3D. Okay.
And we talked to Navis War.
Okay.
To crash collisions and.
Well. So, like, it's like your master's is about project management. So development and project management is not about only modeling the building.
No.
You have to manage the building. Like you have to there is I don't know if you're studying like facilities management. It's that kind of stuff, right?
Yes, and you need to control every data, not only modeling every data, and now not only in the first moment of the design, moreover the maintenance part or the facility part after that, because the cost of the building is not during the construction. The most part is during their functioning. So
so
you need to control every data.
Now
and in the future.
So and it's something that there is a lot of work to be done because everybody is so focused on being 3D to model the walls and the slabs, the building, but there is so much more than that, right? Like when after you build, you have to manage the equipments, everything to do. So it's very important. It's a very important topic. Okay. So I got to know you on LinkedIn about your chapters of Dynamo. So you have like a series of posts on LinkedIn about things that you have been doing with Dynamo. So how did you come up with this idea of posting about Dynamo on LinkedIn? Can you tell us?
Yes, well, I didn't know Dynamo 6 months ago, even his potential. And it was in February when I opened it for the first time.
Okay.
And I started to try in simple routines with my teacher's guidance during the first 2 months. And I'm so grateful that the fact that my master program, including a basic knowledge of Dynamo, because it's amazing, because since that month, I couldn't stop. It's so addictive to me. I like it so much. And during the lockdown, I did courses in different platforms like Udemy or LinkedIn Learning to improve my comprehension of that type of programming, because it's so different. And well, you know it too.
especially for us architects, because we don't know nothing about programming. So it's a new world, like, right?
Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
During May, I published my first post in LinkedIn about Dynamo, and I really didn't expect that feedback. Since then, my last post, I will try to adapt routines that I found in YouTube channels or even in LinkedIn videos, and I try to adapt them for situations that it can be help me in the future, or in my projects, or in my repetitive tasks. Well, I don't know if in Brazil that platforms are usually use it or not, like LinkedIn Learning, Udemy, or.
Well, on LinkedIn, they are not because everything is in English, right? So
Okay.
people here who speak English, they consume all of these platforms like LinkedIn and Udemy, and there are other ones. But for most people, because I think 95% of Brazil don't speak English, right? It's something very we are so bad with that, okay? And so that's why we don't really access the general population don't really access this content, but like the courses that you have, they're not expensive, and they have a lot of information that can really help you understand the software, right?
Yeah, totally. A part of that, if you follow content like The Roots or Being Guru
Yeah.
in YouTube, or listen podcasts like Being Level or Obviously Yours, it's true that most of the content is in English or in Spanish, but well, it helped me, for me, it helped
Yeah.
me a lot to continue with Dynamo and with Beam. So
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, that's very interesting. So and my next question was, how did you learn Dynamo? And you already answered that. So you took some courses on LinkedIn, on Udemy. So in your opinion, how does Dynamo help you in your workflows, like as an architect?
well, increase greatly my options, because the main reason of continue my learning in Dynamo, despite the fact that I didn't know how much I like visual programming, and it was the potential that I see since the moment zero in my workflows, because the relation it can be established with the Revit basics and even more solve problems in exceptional moments. For me, Dynamo means infinite possibilities in Revit, especially in workflows,
Yeah.
from easy routines that customize your template in one click to
Yeah.
specific rules, like a space that you need to maintain free of objects behind the doors, or so useful, this type of routines.
Yeah, yeah. And it's impressive how many people still don't use these simple scripts, right? To automate something, to do something faster. So here, do a lot of people, do a lot of architects use Dynamo already here, there in Spain? So what do you think?
Well, in big teams, yes. I don't know, in a small studies is a pending task, I think so. But well, the process to create a routine is so long, and if someone tried to do it, the first steps of that is a lot of proof of error. And I
Yeah.
understand that more people don't try it because it's a hard task at the beginning, and the first steps are so frustrating. Really put your patience in practice too. But when you boil a routine that works, and in your project means save a lot of time, well, you are happy for the rest of the month or the
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
So
It's a great feeling when you are
yeah,
like trying and it's not working, and you're trying and you think about giving up, you think about ending your life because of that, and then
yeah.
it works, and then it's a great feeling. So and my next question would be, what are the advantages of using Dynamo in your workflows? What are the biggest advantages, in your opinion, to use Dynamo for architects?
Well, in data, because for example, workflows that there are huge options with geometry, but in my case, I don't really use it, only to practice, to discover other nodes and other possibilities for the package. But well, I'm focused in the data when I work with parameters in Dynamo, with my brief but intense experience with Dynamo. And the highlight advantage is save time in repetitive tasks that in Revit can be eternal and monotonous. And for example, complete content of parameters, creating different types or inside a family, rename shapes, views, or level. And it's true that you need to know how to filter that information that do you receive from Excels or TXT, but this type of routines are so useful. And for me, is the best part in my workflows daily.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said before, and it's really impressive for me because like renaming levels, it's something so simple to do in Dynamo. Of course, like you said, you need to understand how you filter data, you organize the information, but it's so simple to do, and a lot of people they get like they spend like two, depending on the project, they can spend like I don't know, 1 hour 2 hours to rename all the levels, all the views, everything, and you can do
Yes.
that, and you spend like 2 hours creating the script, and then you can apply that script to any project you want. So it's amazing, right?
Yes, and you save time, passion, and well, for your team, it's like you are good.
Yeah. It's something like that. But okay, so it's good. But what about the challenges of learning Dynamo for architects? Can you tell us something more about that?
Well, it's a good question because there are two things that architects need to be careful or take note of that. The first of them, I think, is the change of language that we speak before, because we adapt to work with model softwares, graphic programs, and databases to produce or control, but it's not too often found someone who work with visual programming.
Okay.
And maybe people who have been working with Grasshopper, but in my environment is not so common. So this is one of the challenges, I think. So moreover, if you are interested in Python, I think it's different world and another
Yeah.
challenge. Well, the other thing, the second thing, I think, is when we start with Dynamo, we should know what is the main objective and dominate the process and automate task. And we need to have the level in Revit, because maybe we think we can't do something in Revit, and for that reason we waste time in create a routine in Dynamo, and maybe it can be solved in the same Revit. Investigate deeply or with a simple plugin. And apart
Yeah.
of that, when you what do you think about that? I think is so
Yeah,
normal.
I agree, because sometimes, like when you start, first of all, to learn Dynamo, you, in my opinion, you really need to understand really well Revit. If
Yeah,
you
I
don't
agree with you.
understand Revit and the things that can be done in Revit, so you're not gonna have a good time in Dynamo.
Hmm.
So, and when we start learning Dynamo, and when we start seeing the possibilities, we fall in love with Dynamo, and we
Yeah,
want to do everything in Dynamo. So we want to create views, we want to open files, we want to rename everything, and I understand that. I've been in that situation, but
yeah,
there are some things that sometimes Revit, it can be done in Revit
yeah,
with no need to use Dynamo. And sometimes people who are starting to learn, they insist in doing in Dynamo because they like Dynamo, and you have to understand this. You have to know, well, this is no good this is better to be done in Revit, and yeah. And sometimes there is a plugin or some other solution that you can, or some other software that you can communicate with Revit without the need to use Dynamo. So I think it's a thing that people really need to understand to be able to.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you, because a part of that, when you start to create a routine in Dynamo, it's necessary to take your time to analyze the time that you will invert in that routine and the time that you use to do the same task in Revit. It should be fair. It's necessary a balance between them. Moreover, if it's a routine that you will use only in a determined project.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're going to use this, it's a very good example. If you're going to use something just once and it's going to take like a day to create the routine, but it's going to take like a day and a half to do it manually in Revit. So it's better to do it in Revit and don't waste your time. So yeah, that's a very good example.
For example, for that reason, it's so important build routines which don't depend of the project, and it can be used for every project that you need without internal changes.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because we have routines that are specific, and sometimes it's better to do specific routines. Depends, like you said, depends on the situation. You have to have a balance. Okay, is it good for me to do it in Dynamo? It's going to be faster, or not. And we have the other routines that can be used in any project when you have the same situation, right? When you have the same situation, the same elements, or the same context, so you can have these routines. So it's a good thing if you build a routine that can be used in any situation. It's a very good thing, right?
Yeah.
And tell me, I've seen your chapters of Dynamo, okay, on LinkedIn. Well, if you're listening to this podcast on YouTube, Clara's links are going to be on the description. So I'm gonna put your LinkedIn, and I don't know if you, maybe your Instagram. I don't know if you want to share your Instagram in here, but I can put it as well. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
So on your chapters of Dynamo, your last one, your 10th chapter, you did something like a building. So you've created a routine to model like slabs, right?
Yeah.
And
yes,
you did like, you did like a parametric control of the slabs. I thought it was very interesting. It was very interesting, and it's a very specific routine, but to do it manually would be bad, because it's a lot of things you have to change, right? So if you're gonna do the same thing that you did with this routine manually, it will take a lot more time to achieve the design of the building, right? And you have a lot of options now that you have this routine. You just have to change the parameters to have other design options, right?
Yes. Well, when I try to do these type of routines, well, I'm focused to when it's a routines that take geometry, I'm focused to experiment that the combination between not only geometry, moreover parametric design.
Yeah.
So, well, in this type of charters, I try to follow a sequence. I publish 2 charters about parameters and 2 charters about geometry. And I'm thinking in September to start with collaboration with some partners and that. because well, when you build this type of routines, you need to know their function, because if you just start like without reason, you don't know, or to try something, if you are learning to try something different, generative panels or this type of things.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting subject. And yeah, so I'm going, like I said, I'm going to put the links in here. So if you're
Perfect.
listening to the podcast and you want to follow Clara's work, you're gonna have the chance, okay? And let me see. This is my last question, and I think it's gonna open a very good conversation. Do you think every architect should learn Dynamo, and why do you think they should or they should not?
Well, it's a good question too. I consider that it's not necessary every architect. Moreover, if you work in a team, it's useful that everyone have a basic knowledge about their running or the process and the things that you can do with Dynamo, but
Yeah.
not every architect. For example, at least one member of the team, yes, obviously, because it can be increase the quality of the project, optimize process, and it's a person who knows details about the project or the studio, so it helps.
Yeah.
In Spanish, this member is called el friki, the geek, I think in English, I don't know, like the person
Like
who are constantly searching and investigating about these
like
things.
a nerd.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
But well, not each member of the team. Despite of that, if someone has time to learn and want to learn, it's a great tool to do it. Because simple routines can learn at the beginning are so useful, and well,
Yeah.
everyone is welcome in this world.
Yeah. And I think if you're modeling, I totally agree with you. Okay. I don't think like if you are the creative, like if you are a project manager, and you have to manage the teams and the work, you don't really model on Revit. You don't really stop to create walls on the model. So you're like the manager. You don't really need to like learn a lot about Dynamo, but you gotta have a basic knowledge of how it works, because a lot of people when they start learning Dynamo with my free course that I have on YouTube in Portuguese, so they think Dynamo is like I don't know, they think Dynamo is like they don't understand that Dynamo is communicating with Revit. So sometimes they want to do something that it's not possible to do it
Yeah.
in Revit, and they want it to do with Dynamo. And it's not really like that. Dynamo is just accessing the API, right? And if it's not available on the API, it cannot be done, right?
Totally.
So yeah, so people don't have a difficult
Yeah,
to
it's
understand.
necessary in the sense that if you can do a lot of things. Do you have infinite possibilities? But well, Dynamo is like a complement of your work,
Yeah,
not an alternative. So
yeah, it's a very good thing that you mentioned. It's like it's gonna expand your work, but you're gonna have to know a lot about Revit. You're gonna have to know a lot about process, about the process of things, about the construction of the buildings. So it's a lot more than Dynamo, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
these were my questions, okay? And like I told you guys, it's the first international podcast. So it's going to be shorter because I have to put subtitles on everything. So I'm going to spend like a week putting subtitles on that. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to spend a week, but it was a good experience. It was great. And Clara, I would like one more time to thank you for accepting the invitation. And please, the space, the time is yours. Tell the listeners something that you're doing. Invite them to, please invite them to go to your LinkedIn. I don't know. The time is yours now to say something to the listeners. Okay.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity too, because I'm very happy that my posts have put us in contact and share this time with you and the people who see it. And well, I'm in LinkedIn, and so for Dynamo, small questions that I can solve, I'm there. Well, I think that's all. I'm so happy about this type of interview.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Rolo.
Well, it was a pleasure, and I hope a lot of Brazilians start following you. So I think you're gonna have to do like some Portuguese posts. So
well, it maybe in the future, yes, because well, I don't speak Portuguese as well as English. I think so, but well, I can defend myself. So
okay,
it's perfect for me. Everybody's welcome.
Okay, so one more time, thank you, Clara, and it was a pleasure talking to you. You're a very nice person, and yeah, talk to you soon in another episode, okay?
Oh, thank you.
Ok, gente, muito obrigado por terem assistido, por terem escutado esse podcast e, enfim, até a próxima semana com mais um episódio. Valeu!